Recording. The last job I had was as a regular job, anyways. It was as a health unit coordinator at a hospital, which is just a type of clerical work. And really, that's for most of my adult life, I've been working mostly clerical jobs, a few light industrial jobs as well, even though I have a bachelor's degree. Now, one wonders, am I alone? No. Actually, if anything, it's almost par for the course. It's a very commonplace for people with higher education to have worked and continue to work continually at these jobs. Good, honest work. I'm not putting down these kind of jobs that don't need somebody with a college education. But there's a problem there with society. It's not leveraging the intellect, the thinking, all these years of thinking, training, education, learning how to think. Society is not leveraging that to its advantage when there's this great mass of individuals in this country who are working jobs that do not at all require or utilize. These jobs are not leveraging the education, the abilities that have been acquired from all these college graduates through their learning. And as a result, society is not leveraging that ability, that human resources. That's a problem. So, now we'll be wondering, what does that mean in terms of the organization of society? Is that something, is that a fundamental problem with our socioeconomic system? I think it is. That is probably perhaps the fundamental one, or at least one of the fundamental differences that separate political figures who might be described as socialist versus those that are still describe themselves as both capitalist and progressive. Now, there's a lot of politicians they claim to be progressive, but also have committed themselves to being capitalists fundamentally. Now, when you look at this capitalist system, what has been the result? What has resulted is this massive underemployment of these citizens, these well-educated citizens. Now, a lot of these people, a lot of these college grads that are underemployed, they actually default to blaming themselves. I'm saying they're not necessarily to blame, because it is the problem of the system that we are living under. It is more a fault of the capitalist system that treats everything as a competition. And it's a competition that is based on the merits, not of the ability to person to perform any particular job, but rather the merits of a person's ability to market themselves, to network within the business community, their ability to successfully navigate office politics. Those are the measures that the business world is largely determining success for an individual in the employment realm. we often hear such phrases as, it's not what you know, as who you know. Now I'm thinking, isn't it kind of important what you know to do your job well? Being able to know the proper procedures of your job? Well, how does it matter who you know? It doesn't. But that's what the business world has accepted as the norm. It's who you know. It's networking. Office politics. So as a result, we have the system that is not a meritocracy. And that is what has came about through our capitalist system. Now let's have an example of Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Here we have this brilliant stateswoman, but before she was elected, what was she was doing? She was waiting tables. Now one wonders, how have we had a society, organization of the socioeconomic organization that puts somebody like that, a brilliant thinker, speaker, she's waiting tables. How does, and we're wondering, supposing she was living in a district where her congressional representative was progressive enough, so that she was not motivated enough to run herself. Supposing the incumbent was an actual progressive, I mean, would it be the case that today she would be still waiting tables? I think there's a good chance that she would be. That's I think very commonplace. She's just happened to, all these circumstances came together for her to rise to that level that she's now. She's a household name, but had just a few different circumstances been around, I think she'd still be waiting tables. Now, I don't think, now I'm not even working right now. I'm thinking maybe I should start looking pretty soon. But if I do find another job, I doubt if it's going to be something that's going to leverage all my learning and education. And so what kind of system do we need where people like myself, who maybe are not so great at office politics and networking and self-marketing, how can we organize a system where it'll seek out, rather than requiring people to have such ambition to figure out how to navigate office politics. Rather, society will come to them according to their ability, their talents, and provide an option for them to fit into, suggest. I mean, we could be like a society that doesn't necessarily require for someone to work at the job for which they it has been determined they are most useful for, that they would perform best at and most talented at. I mean, it could be all sorts of tests based on psychological formulas to determine who is best at what, and you have these different kinds of logical reasoning, psychology, all those things put together to figure out who is best at what different task that society needs or wants. And then there could be positions created already for them to fit into based on their ability. Now, this is not such a crazy, it's not such a newfangled hippie liberal idea. This is something that Plato thought of in the Republic, where people's jobs would be, they would have jobs according to what they're best at. So maybe we could create a society based on that kind of Plato's Republic idea. And we have to give up on this current format of capitalism and business world deciding based on people's ability to market themselves, to network, to get the right connections, to know the right people, or just be born into the right families with people born with a silver spoon in their mouth. That is clear. It's clear that's a failure, failed method, failed system of utilizing human resources. So we need to change that. Not sure exactly how. Not sure, there's a lot of details that would have to get worked out. I agree. I realize that. But I think it can be done. I think it should be done. People, these college grads, need to stop blaming themselves and start blaming the system and demanding a reorganization of the whole socioeconomic order that will leverage all their particular talents, abilities, all their learning, all their education for the betterment of society. We can do this. We can figure this out. Thanks for watching.